Have you ever stopped to think about what really happens when you don't pray? Prayer is often seen as just a religious routine, something we do because we've been taught it's important. But in reality, prayer is so much more than that. It's our lifeline, our connection to God, and the foundation of our spiritual journey. Yet, how many times do we let the busyness of life, the weight of our struggles, or even our doubts keep us from this vital conversation with our Creator? What happens when we go days, weeks, or even months without praying? In today's video, we'll uncover the spiritual, emotional, and even practical effects of neglecting prayer and why it's essential for living a fulfilled and victorious life. Together, let's reflect on the power of prayer and the dangers of living without it. Prayer isn't just about asking God for things. It's about building and nurturing a relationship with Him. Think about it. Can you maintain a strong friendship or marriage without communication? The same is true with God. When we pray, we're not just speaking words into the air. We're inviting God into our lives, sharing our hearts, and aligning our will with His. It's an intimate conversation with the Creator who knows us better than we know ourselves. Prayer is where we find strength, hope, and clarity. It's where we're reminded of God's promises and His presence, even in the hardest of times. Without prayer, life can feel chaotic and overwhelming because we lose that anchor that keeps us steady. It's through prayer that we experience God's peace that surpasses all understanding. Without it, we often find ourselves trying to handle life's storms on our own, and the results can be exhausting and disheartening. Prayer also has a way of aligning us with God's purpose. It's not just about telling Him our needs, but about listening to His voice and trusting His plans. Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6 reminds us to trust in the Lord with all our hearts and not lean on our own understanding. Prayer is where we let go of our limited perspective and embrace God's infinite wisdom. It's a daily surrender that allows us to live in His strength instead of our own. When we don't pray, we begin to feel the weight of life's burdens in ways we were never meant to carry. Anxiety, fear, and confusion often creep in, replacing the peace that comes from trusting God. Have you ever felt like you're running on empty, constantly striving but never finding rest? That's often the result of trying to navigate life without God's guidance and help. Prayer is where we cast our cares on Him because He cares for us. Without it, those cares pile up, leaving us overwhelmed and spiritually drained. Without prayer, we also become more vulnerable to spiritual attacks. Ephesians 6 verse 18 tells us to pray as part of the armor of God. It's what equips us to stand firm against the enemy's schemes. When we neglect prayer, we're essentially stepping into a spiritual battlefield unarmed and defenseless. The enemy knows the power of prayer, which is why he often tries to distract or discourage us from doing it. By skipping prayer, we unintentionally give him room to work in our lives through doubt, discouragement, and division. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking consequences of not praying is missing out on the blessings and breakthroughs God has in store for us. James 4 verse 2 says, "You do not have because you do not ask God." How many times have we struggled unnecessarily because we didn't bring our needs and desires before Him in prayer? Prayer isn't just about changing our circumstances. It's about changing us, shaping our hearts, and preparing us to receive what God has for us. Prayer is more than just a spiritual discipline. It's the heartbeat of a thriving relationship with God. Through prayer, we experience His love, His peace, and His power in ways we can't find anywhere else. It's where we pour out our hearts, not just with our words but with our emotions, struggles, and deepest desires. And in return, God speaks, comforts, and strengthens us in ways that transform our lives. When we pray, we step into the presence of a loving Father who delights in hearing from His children. Imagine that the God of the universe desires a relationship with us. Prayer isn't about having all the right words. It's about having a surrendered heart. Whether you're crying out in desperation or whispering a simple "thank you," Every prayer matters to God. Beyond personal transformation, prayer also has the power to impact those around us. When we intercede for others, we invite God to move in their lives, whether they realize it or not. Our prayers can open doors, break chains, and bring hope where there seems to be none. Prayer is not just for us. It's a gift we can share with the world. So, what about you? How's your prayer life today? If you've been feeling disconnected, overwhelmed, or unsure of where to start, remember that prayer is simply a conversation with God. He's waiting, ready to hear from you, and eager to pour His love into your heart. Don't let another day go by without taking time to pray. If this message has encouraged you, we invite you to share it with someone who might need a reminder of the importance of prayer. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more faith-based inspiration and reflections. Join us next time as we dive deeper into understanding how prayer transforms our lives and keeps us connected to God. Together, let's grow in faith and prayer. God bless you.